Coming up on Mountain News this morning, lawmakers return to the state capitol in order to override several vetoes, and a high-profile bill involving sports betting here in the Commonwealth remains in limbo in the General Assembly.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning to you. It's just before 5 o'clock on this Thursday morning. Thank you for waking up with us, and let's take it over to Brandon for a look at our forecast. Brandon, a wild night for, well, I guess parts of the Commonwealth, and the wind is something fierce this morning. I had my car door open just a little bit this morning in the parking lot. The wind came by, and I thought, this is going to hit Brandon's car because I parked next to you, and I was like, how do I tell him if my car door hits his car? But it didn't.
Thankfully it didn't. No. I wouldn't have got too mad at you, but yeah, it was a pretty stout night out there with wind. Thankfully, the severe aspect died off pretty quickly last night and this morning, and the rain basically almost gone right now, but some still breezy conditions out there this morning, so we're keeping an eye on that as we head through the daytime hours today. But we are out of severe weather alert day mode, back into regular alert day, well, not alert day at all mode, no alert day. There you go. Some fog trying to build in this morning, not too bad just yet, but you can see it back along that cold front, still moving through parts of central Kentucky. Look at the temperatures on the western side of the state compared to the eastern side of the state. Mid to upper 50s, low 60s here in the east, 47 in Louisville. So once that cold front comes through here, it's going to drop us even more. So I do believe temperatures will continue to fall through about mid to late morning before we start to rebound this afternoon, getting back into the 60s as the sunshine returns and the rain chances wrap up. Breakfast forecast, though, we're still going to slide for a little while longer. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, the Kentucky primary election is quickly approaching. The deadline to register to vote in the primary is Monday, April 18th. This year, new state law allows 3 days of early voting on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday before the election. If it can't make the polls on election day, you can request an absentee ballot. The primary is set for May 17th. Wednesday was veto day in Frankfort. Lawmakers returned to the state capitol for the final 2 days of the session. Legislators wasted no time overriding dozens of vetoes issued by Governor Andy Beshear. Both chambers voted to override several of the line items vetoed in the budget. House Bill 9, a bill that would fund charter schools in Kentucky, and House Bill 8 is the tax modernization bill that includes a reduction in the state income tax, and the line item veto in House Bill 243 that would have prevented lawmakers from getting an 8% raise. One high-profile bill still in limbo in the General Assembly is House Bill 606. That's the sports gambling bill. It has already passed the House but has not made a Senate vote. It received 2 readings on the Senate floor and has now been assigned to the Economic Development Committee. That committee's chair, Senator Will Schroeder, says he supports the bill but says they are still working on getting enough votes to pass it. The Crown Act hasn't seen any movement in Frankfort for weeks now. The legislation would ban hair-based discrimination. It's meant to protect people with traditional hairstyles like braids, locks, and twists. A House committee approved the bill on March 14th. It has not received a vote in the full House. Also in Frankfort yesterday, state officials paid tribute to Corbin native Nancy Mitchell. Mitchell, who was married to Congressman Hal Rogers, longtime field representative Bob Mitchell, died back in October 2021. Legislators discussed their experiences and connections to her and issued a resolution offering condolences and honoring the legacy she leaves behind.
We'll dearly miss her compassionate heart and her smile that lit up every room. And now therefore be it resolved by the Senate of the General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, the members of the Senate hereby express their most profound sympathy upon the passing of Nancy Klaus Mitchell.
Mitchell was the first woman ever elected to the Corbin City Commission and also served 2 terms as vice mayor of Corbin. It was one of the many hats she wore throughout her career. Kentucky's COVID-19 cases are pretty low from what we have previously seen during the pandemic. The Kentucky River District Health Department was visited by a team from the CDC 2 years ago. Their health leaders learned how to manage a pandemic and how to test people for the virus. They say some people think the vaccines do not work, but they disagree and say booster shots help us build up immunity.
Just like with flu shots, we still do an annual flu shot. And we go back to the Spanish influenza outbreak of 1918, and we're still doing flu shots here 100 years later.
Now, currently, 57% of Kentuckians are fully vaccinated against COVID, and 25% are either boosted or received an additional dose. Bluegrass Care navigators set up outside of the Hazard Coffee Company yesterday to spread awareness about National Healthcare Decision Day. Well, that is actually Saturday, but health leaders were aiming to get the word out about making sure you know your loved ones' wants and wishes before it's too late, offering forms and advice, along with free coffee from Hazard Coffee Company.
It's really important that you have those conversations. It's a hard conversation to have, but it's really important that you know what your family's wishes are.
If you are interested in learning more, you can call Bluegrass Care Navigators. Well, April is National Stress Awareness Month, the time of the year to educate everyone on the effects of this silent killer. Doctors say although stress is inevitable, there are ways you can prevent yourself from worsening stress, like enforcing and maintaining personal boundaries is very beneficial.
We have to come to terms with our own limitations. If we are trying to do everything all the time and afraid to hurt other people's feelings by saying no, then we will always find ourselves in situations which are not sustainable.
He adds that your body will show signs of stress through irritability, restlessness, and overeating. Well, thank you so much for getting your Thursday morning started with us on Mountain News this morning. When we come back, thousands of people are left without power here in the Commonwealth after strong winds and rain caused some damage. That's on the way.
And the rain chances will continue for a little while this morning, but the sunshine returns later today. I'll have the latest forecast in about 3 minutes.